My name is Michael Mastro. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to look at the, the Vedic Astrology chart of Pablo Picasso, born October 25th, 1881 at 2300 hours and 15 minutes in Malaga, Spain. And we're looking through the eyes of the sidereal zodiac, not the Western tropical zodiac. So if we look to the eastern horizon when he was born, we would see the sign of the constellation associated with Cancer rising at 13 degrees. And so any planet that's close to 13 degrees has impact in his chart. So we have Venus, Sun, Moon, Rahu and Ketu, Saturn, all within 5 degrees of that most effective point, having a lot of impact in his chart. So first we're going to see how the planets are operating, and then we're going to see when the planets are operating, because not everything happens all at once, and then we'll look and see what we could do to strengthen the chart. So first, we want to see what the challenging or malefic planets are. Rahu and Ketu are malefic for every chart. That does not mean they always cause harm, but in this case, they are within 5 degrees, just 20% of the most effective point. So they afflict 6 out of his 12 houses. And then we have any multicona signs 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11 that fall in the 6th, the 8th, or the 12th house. So we have Jupiter, Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter in the 6th house, and we have Saturn ruling Aquarius in the 8th house, and so they can cause issues. Jupiter is afflicting Mercury, and Saturn is afflicting 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's afflicting just barely Venus. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, so it is within. So it's also afflicting 4 out of the 12 houses, just barely, just by 20%. So let's look and see how the planets are operating. So first we're going to see where the multicona signs fall. Remember, many of the planets rule 2 signs, and it's like you have 2 residents. One you rent out, and one is your primary living space. So for Mars, it rules Scorpio and Aries, the 1st and the 8th sign. And so it is more aligned with Aries. So Aries becomes the primary residence or the multicona sign. So we don't look too much to Scorpio. So anyway, so let's see. So we have that first sign of Aries ruled by Mars in the career house. So big focus on his career. Then you have the Cancer ruled by Moon in the 1st house. So big focus on what he came here to do. And then life purpose. And then you have Leo ruled by Sun in the house of wealth and fame and stability in his marriage or primary relationships. So working on those things. Then we have the 6th sign of Virgo ruled by Mercury in the house of entrepreneurial success through fine arts. And then we have the 7th sign of Libra ruling the house of happiness and home life. Then we have the 9th sign again of Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter in the house of conflicts, debts, fire, theft, and cheating, health and healing. And then we have the 11th sign of Aquarius, ruled by Saturn, in the house of transformation, death like experiences, vulnerabilities, um, windfalls, research into different painting techniques, forms of art. So, those are the things he's working on this lifetime. Let's look at how those planets manifest. So, we have Sun at 10 degrees, close to the most effective point, and it's so ruling the house of wealth and fame, and placed in the house of happiness through home life. So in his chart, Sun is debilitated; it's weak, but it does give him the leadership. He's a leader in the art form of Cubism, and he got good support from his father. His father got him into art school when he was only 13 years old, but is weak. So Sun represents heart, so it can give him a heart condition, and it does represent this house of instability in his relationships. So he had all of that. Then we have Moon at 16 degrees, again, close to the most effective point. Again, it is debilitated, so it's weak, and it's afflicted by Rahu. So they're fairly close together, within 1 degree. So that's called a 80% affliction. And so Rahu gives, Moon is ruling the house of life purpose. So this can affect longevity because it's afflicted by Rahu. And the life purpose would be connected to sensitivity. Moon is sensitive. It's compassionate. It is performing for the public, so creating art for entertainment for the public. So Moon is public. Then we have, and also Moon is heart. So again, that weakness of the heart. Then we have Mars is at 20 degrees, and it is ruling the house of career, and it's placed in the 12th house. So 12th house is losses and expansions and feeling separate. So I think he did feel separate. And Mars is also, this house is addictions, sexual addictions. And so it brings all of that into the house of career. So Mars gives passion, it gives courage to express a new art form and go out on his own. And this 12th house is being able to express the subconscious mind, the subconscious feelings of feeling separate and all that. And that's Cubism, probably is connected to that. Then we have, and then there is that depression there. So also, Mercury's at 2 degrees. So any planet that's less than 5 or more than 25, less than 5 is said to be an infant state. So it's weak in that sense. And it is ruling the house of entrepreneurial independent success through fine arts, performing arts, or healing arts. So fine arts, and it's in the house of creativity. So he's giving that the intellect, the creativity to express himself through those fine arts. And also, it represents lungs. He had fluid in the lungs, and he could be quite critical and abusive in his speech, Mercury's speech. Then we have Jupiter at 1 degree, again very weak in degrees. And then it's ruling this house of health and healing and debts and conflict. So Jupiter itself represents children. It's placed in the house of income and social connections and fulfillment of desires. So that connects. He had an ulcer, and it connects health. His so his income is connected to healing through art, healing himself and others through expressing art. And he did have one child who committed suicide. And then this also, Jupiter represents this house of divorce. He, I don't know if he actually got a divorce, but he was separated and had several relationships. Um, Jupiter is also morals, so he had a lot of affairs, um, and so that. And then because it's weaker morals, not following the laws of the land. Jupiter, Venus is at 12 degrees, close to the most effective point. Again, it is, so Jupiter was debilitated. So Venus is, uh, excuse me, Venus is debilitated. Sorry, not, not Jupiter. And it is ruling this house of happiness through home life and property. And it is placed in the house of fine arts and success through entrepreneurial success. So his happiness comes through um, expressing himself through the fine arts, and and also brought some instability in his family life, his relationships. And his wife, Venus represents wife, and it probably could affect some, she had some mental issues. Um, Saturn is ruling the house of vulnerability, transformation, death like experiences, drama. So, and it is placed in the house of career. So, his career was expressing his subconscious feelings here and the 12th house as well, his vulnerabilities through his art, his sexual fantasies also expressed through his art. And then we have Saturn gave great discipline to perfect his craft. And then we have Rahu and Ketu, um, functional malefic planets, close to the most effective point, afflicting 6 out of his 12 houses. But Rahu itself giving desire for creativity and romance in his life, and then K2 giving a spiritual aspect to his income. So, spiritual in the sense that he's expressing his spiritual side through his art. Now, it also afflicts health and relationships, so ups and downs in the relationships, um, and ups and downs in his health. So let's looking at the timing of events. So he did his very first painting in 1890 during a Mercury fine art career. First painting expressing, fulfilling his career there, starting his career basically. In 35, he had a daughter during a Moon Jupiter period. Jupiter represents children. Moon is a feminine, so a female child. In 1944, he declared himself affiliated himself with communism. So Jupiter is beliefs, strong beliefs, and connecting socially to that communist group. And then we have in 73, he died of a heart failure. So, and that was during what period? Hold on a second. During a Jupiter period where I had health issues, and then approaching K2, which would be unexpected events. Then if we look at the chart, of the transits at that time, you see K2 transit K2 afflicting Mars, and so Mars creating inflammation. Moon is at the most effective point in the house of end of life. Moon, it represents heart. K2 is afflicting the fourth house of heart, the sixth house of health, and the 12th house, the eighth house of death-like experiences. And then you have Venus, which represents heart, the fourth house, combust, close to the sun. And those are the main things of the chart. Now, what could we do to strengthen this chart? So we want to transform Rahu, Ketu, Jupiter, and Saturn. So Rahu we would transform by helping those who cannot help themselves, and chants, any kind of chants, but Shiva chants would be good. Ketu would be helping spiritual organizations, and Ganesh chants or any kind of chants. Then we have Saturn helping those who cannot help themselves, and Shiva chants as well. Jupiter, Ganesh chants, and helping, again, spiritual organizations. So we want to not strengthen but transform the malefics. Then the rest of the planets, Mercury, want to strengthen by wearing a kavash containing the Devata yantra for Mercury, the Devata yantra for Moon, Sun, Venus, and Mars. Or he could wear an emerald, green clothing on Wednesdays, wear a pearl, wear a diamond, wear a red coral, and a ruby. So those are the things that would strengthen those planets. But I think his success really came from Sun, which gave him leadership in the art world, and then Moon, which gave him the desire to give to the public a life purpose through public exposition of his creativity. And then Mars giving him his passion and his courage to create a new art form. And Mercury gave him his creativity and intellect, communication ability through the art. Venus, Jupiter gave him that expansive feeling, able to express himself through the art. And Venus gave him beauty and creativity as well. And then Saturn gave him the discipline for his career to sit down and perfect his craft. So I think, and desire, Ra giving the desire to be very, very creative. I think all of those things are true. So thank you for listening. If you would like to get a reading, you can go to www.vastucreations.com. If you would like to learn about transformational Vedic astrology, go to American Institute of Vastu.com, and there's a level 1 and level 2. You can get certified to give readings for other people and make a living at this. Thank you.